Hello YouTubers, this is Winnie here from Vintage Heirloom, and this week's video installment will be looking at fake versus a real 7-inch classic flap. Take a look at these bags and see if you can spot the fake. I can confirm it's the white one. I think those who are Chanel aficionados could spot this a mile away, and it's a pretty poor replica bag. I got this from a reputable online marketplace, and it was sold to me as an authentic Chanel unused. I knew it was a fake bag, but I got it anyway. Not that I encourage you guys to buy fake bags online, but my job as a reseller, I have to research and collate information and samples to enable me to decipher fakes from real bags. I think I paid around about maybe less than $200 US, which is expensive for a really poorly made bag, but cheap for Chanel. And if you see a Chanel bag priced cheaply, it's too good to be true, it usually is. The good news is I very rarely come across fake bags. The market's not as flooded as you think it is. I think in a year we may come across less than 3% fake bags. As a reseller, we inspect everything that comes through our door, and if we have a gut feeling that something's not right, which it usually is, we get our items authenticated and validated by a Chanel expert. The good thing about us is we do control everything we put on our website, so everything you see is authenticated and curated by us. Unlike other reputable online websites, particularly marketplaces, I don't know how much they can control the amount of items that people upload onto their service. I'm sure there is a way of controlling it, and I'm sure eventually those sort of people will get found out, but in some cases for customers it might be too late. So we always encourage to buy from a reputable reseller website like us. So let's look at and compare the two bags. The first thing we look at is, and something that you'll notice straight away, is the quality of the leather. The white bag is not made of real leather, it's a PU synthetic leather. You can usually tell by touching and smelling the leather. It smells a bit plasticky. On authentic 7-inch classics, these were made in lambskin leather, and lambskin has a distinct buttery soft feel, and on the vintage ones, especially ones that age, it has a buttery sheen. Chanel did make caviar versions of these, but these are really super rare to find on the resale market, and I've yet to come across one. Another thing to look at is the high stitch count. Usually on classic flat bags they have a high stitch count, and the stitches are quite small and quite tight in a 1-inch length, and there should be more than 10 stitches. This gives it that distinct flat matelassé quilting. If you look at the white version here, you can see how big the stitches are. I think there is 8 stitches in this 1-inch gap, and the matelassé quilting is overall quite puffy and it doesn't feel very smooth. Let's look at the hardware. On the real version, the gold is a yellow gold, and the gold hardware is normally gilded in 24 karat gold. It feels cold to touch and it has a lovely weighty feel. And the CC lock has a little marking. This marking actually signifies the country of origin where the bag is made. So normally if there's a marking, it means that the bag is made in France, and when there is no marking, it's the bag is made in Italy. And if you also look at the CC lock, on the authentic version, the lock has a squared off edge. And if we take a look inside, on these 7-inch classics, it only appears on these sort of classics, these little mini ones, there is a Chanel hook, strap hook, with the Chanel engraved. If you compare this to the white bag, the gold, I don't know if it's gold plated, but it definitely has a paler, almost like a rose gold look to it, so it's definitely not plated in 24 karat gold. It also feels quite light and a bit cheap feeling. There is no marking on the CC lock, and if you look at the edges, it's actually rounded on the hardware. And if we take a look inside, there is no strap hook. In fact, unlike on all cheap bags, this chain, if we look closely, eventually over use it would prise open and it will fall off. And another thing, because this is a leather tab here, if you overstuff the bag, over time this will snap and break, because this is just basically not strong enough to hold the weight of the bag. Okay, now if you compare the straps, on the authentic version the lambskin is tri-folded down by hand and inserted, and this is takes a lot of skill. I mean, if you've ever folded leather, it's really difficult. The replica version has done sort of replicated this in a cheap way by they've done a top stitch on the leather and then inserted it through the interwoven chain. I should also mention at this point, a very notable thing is there is also top stitching along the front flap of the bag. On the authentic version there is no top stitching. Finally, let's take a look inside the bag. I don't think you need to be a Chanel novice to see how poorly presented this bag is. Considering this was sold to me as new and unused, if you look underneath, there's a huge ugly glue mark. The Chanel hot stamping is on the pocket, and this one is should be underneath the embroidered CC, with Chanel on one side and the Made in origin on the opposite side. But the biggest giveaway for me was the serial sticker. Serial stickers of this style bag does not appear on a separate leather tab like this. And usually it's found in the bottom left hand corner. Also, this is the incorrect style number for this style of bag. According to this style of bag, it's a 10 prefix with an 8-digit. This dates it back to 2005 and 2006, which I know that this style of model of bag was not available then. Now, if we compare this to the real version, let's open it up. The lining sits flat and sits flushed as well. The Chanel hot stamping is just under the CC embroidered logo, with Chanel one side and the Made in on the opposite side. And the serial sticker is clearly visible on the bottom left hand corner. Now this bag, the serial sticker begins with the 0 prefix with the 7 digits, which I can confirm this is correct, as the lady who previously owned this bag, she told me she bought it back in 1988. And I think the 7-inch classic of this particular style was around from 1988 to 1998. So it was around for 10 years, and to my knowledge I know it's currently discontinued, so it's not even available now. A good way to check is to visit Chanel's own website and checking their icons range to see all the current models and all the sizes. So just to recap, the top 5 things to look out for is: number 1, the quality of the leather. Does it feel like leather? Number 2, the stitch count. Classic flat bags have a high stitch count. In a 1-inch measurement there should be 10 stitches or more. 3, we should look at the hardware, look at the quality. Is it gold plated? Does it feel weighty and cold to the touch? 4, look at the straps. On the classic flat bags, the lambskin is tri-folded and interwoven into the chain, no top stitching. And 5, look at the serial number. Is the position correct? Does the number correspond to the style and year it was made? I hope you've enjoyed this video. We would love to hear your feedback and video suggestions. I'm Winnie from Vintage Heirloom, and thank you for watching.